Hey, folks, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mssada Podcast with the Big Bedford Buck, Keith Mangan, and myself, Matt Trahan. Great to be back together again with you, Keith. Listen, I know it's been a while. The last time we got together, we were in sunny, windy, rainy Florida.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, how you doing?
Rumor has it that the FCC got in and shut us down for a little bit from our podcast down in Florida. So.
Not for nothing. That was a good time. Very, very, very informative. And we had some great spectators live and in person. It was awesome.
Listen, I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. Met some people, had a couple conversations with some folks afterwards, asking how we do that, why we do that. That was a little bit harder to explain rather than how we do it, rather than why we do it. But they thought it was hysterical. Couple of ADs from Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
So it was pretty cool to chat with them. Great experience down in Orlando. Get to, as we talk about, meeting some new people, going to some great sessions. It was a great experience as always.
It was, and I thought, it was interesting because, again, having done this a little bit, with you and certainly in my own podcast. Strange to have an audience. It was actually kind of cool because it was like, again, I like to think that we're semi-entertaining, but when you actually get people to laugh, up close and personal, I thought it was great. I thought that, throwing those oranges at Andy had to be done.
Listen, if there's only something that we could do every day, it would be great.
Absolutely. I absolutely love it. I look forward to it. At times it's tough to build it into the schedule, but certainly, down in Orlando, it was a great time.
Absolutely.
That being said, I think, frequency, I think, we're getting to the point where I think the next time we get together, we are going to have a special guest come on. Right. We've talked about that, and we'll, I think we're going to do a little teaser out there. Let's see if we can get somebody to guess who's coming on the show, and maybe we could hook them up with a Mssada prize or something along those lines.
Well, listen, we could certainly take care of that. We actually still have a couple of things left over from last year's gift. So, we can throw that out there, and that would be outstanding. Send that right out to the person, or deliver to them down the Cape. I think would be a great plan. I know we've talked about doing this in the past, but trying to do, we'll obviously do the shows leading up to the conference, but try and do a every night sort of thing, just a quick pop in, how things going, live from the vendor hall, live from the brains of the operation. We're all setting up and stuff.
Absolutely,
stuff like that should be great.
It's like behind the scenes, right? It's no kayfabe here. This is it. We're gonna show you the back side of the house, which is I think is great. What I will say is you and I spoke quite a bit, but there are other state associations that don't do this, that have said that they would like to do this.
Yeah.
So, if you're out there listening and you've asked the question, I think the two of us would be more than willing to help anybody get it up and running.
Absolutely.
It certainly serves a great purpose. And I think that, our membership, appreciates the info. Tanya does a great job getting all of the info out.
Yep.
I think our website's a great spot, but this for the visual viewer who needs to hear it. Absolutely. Right. So
I hear that. And if you get to see us live, if you're a kinesthetic viewer, watch out for an orange flying or anything like that. So that's all good too. Yeah. So we talked about, you just mentioned Tanya and the great job she's doing, just putting out, making the conference registration live, which is, people have been waiting for. People, go on to AMP, book your registration. The LTC courses are all on there. If you're looking to do LTC courses, you go through and sign up for those, and you can pay for those via credit card or by check. You can just download your own invoice right there if you're doing a PO or anything like that, which is great about the AMP product. I'm getting pretty used to this now, because this is, the NIAAA is using this for all its membership. We're right in the middle of the conversion over. So getting a lot of questions. I haven't got this yet. And I just tell people just to hang in there. We'll go through and deal with stuff as it comes. But there are great changes that are coming over and make life easier. Like right now, when we I have to look up someone's number. I have to download a spreadsheet every single time, sort it, this, that, whatever. You'll be able to go right in and look and see where your expiration date, when your membership expires, and it's going to be so much easier. And as you know, you're using vinyl forms as well for your registration, and it's a great product, and it makes make sure you're in the green, then you're all set. That's
here's the thing, Keith. And I'm not being in any which way. I just want to throw it out there. Like, I appreciate the fact that Mssada only surrounds themselves with the best. Yep. Right. I mean, and I mean that firmly, because you look at the companies that have come on and become partners or sponsors or whatnot. We're not just a group that just decides, yeah, sure, you're welcome to come on. Like, we view the product, we work with the product, and if it's a great product, we put our arms around it. Yep. Right. Like, I'll be honest with you, the Final Forms thing, everybody gets nervous about jumping from one platform to another. I was that guy. Yep. Best move I made. And then for us, with the networking that we do with all of the people in our districts, all of the people that we associate with, if it's great for you, why not pass it on to others, right? Like, why not do that? And I think that's one of the big things that Mssada serves as, is it's, we're a great sounding board. We test some things out, and then send it out to the membership. And if it makes our lives easier, why wouldn't it make theirs?
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head, right? Like, it's what we're trying to do is make everyone's lives easier, and we're all working as athletic directors ourselves. We have our regular job, and now we're doing the stuff on behind the scenes to try and put on the best conference possible, the best educational opportunities possible, and to really make lives easier whenever possible for our colleagues and our friends out there.
I got to tell you, I'm wicked excited about March. Wicked. Yeah. Because again, we always talk about it here on the podcast. We always talk about our conference, bigger and better. All right. It went down with Mike and Kara and a few others, Ann as well, and Jim Quattromoni and Tom Tarpey, our president, met with the owner, met with Mr. Mallows.
Yeah.
Had a great meeting. I think, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. You're going to see some things that you haven't seen in a bunch of years. It's not going to be the same old. It's going to look and feel different. Super excited about the program and everything that we have to offer. Again, great opportunity for us to kind of let our hair down.
Yep.
Well, I can let my hair down, but yeah, I know I'm getting
too easy. Too easy.
Too easy, right? But we're going to let our hair down and actually have a really great time. And then you mentioned it before, professional development down there in the concurrent sessions are always great.
Absolutely. And we talk about if you want to get involved and what to do, this year, Jim Quattromoni as the first vice president. His baby is the conference, right? He works very close with Mike. Where Mike will bring in all the vendors and stuff like that. And Jim's main job here is the schedule and the list of events. So if you're interested in maybe presenting and you haven't reached out to Jim yet, please make sure you do that. He'll rumor has it you swing down by Hingham High School, he'll take you out for lunch, wine you and dine you, and whatever to get you on if you got a great topic. That was the word I heard. So we'll have to check in and see how reliable that is. But he also looking for moderators as well, that if you want to just do something where you introduce a colleague or something like that, and to help us out with attendance and to check people in so they can get their PDPs and everything.
Excellent.
Reach out to Jim or reach out to one of us, and we'll get you going in the right direction.
I love it. That's a great plug. Speaking of plugs, and shame on me. I'm going to say it once. I'll say it twice. I'll say it over and over again. If you're not using Gold Athletics, what are you waiting for? Don't take our word for it. They are the best in the business. Gold Athletics have all of your fundraising needs. All of them. You name it, they have it. They will be down at the conference. They've got quite a bit going on. Matt Ross and his team are phenomenal. And, if you follow them on social media, they're all over the country. I mean, and they're just doing it and doing it well. So, can't say enough about Matt Ross and Gold Athletics. They are fantastic, and they've been very good to us as well.
Oh, absolutely. And they'll set you up with whoever your person is for your area. And we talk about ways to make our lives easier, right? And We get emails all the time from all these different fundraising companies and stuff out there, and I'm sure they all have different products to offer, which is all well and good. But the attention to detail that we've experienced, and I know you were on board with Gold Athletics first, and after we started the podcast and they got on as our sponsor, and I reached out to them, and they I met with our rep and got our teams all on board, a bunch of our teams on board looking to do stuff, and it's been great because there's always something different, right?
Yep.
It's you go to the well too many times and you do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
like for
absolutely.
our booster club does a membership drive every year, and it's kind of we've seen the membership. Really, it's just basically asking for money, right? And that's kind of starting to drop a little bit. So now we had a meeting the other night. So let's talk about something different. So why don't we reach out to Gold Athletics? These are the guys that we're doing. Send it out to our group and to try and do something different. We've done everything from cookie dough to popcorn to my hockey team last year did the beef jerky fundraiser, which I thought was
so good.
Talk about creative and something different. They're great folks. Great attention to detail, as I already said. And you're crazy not to reach out to them.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? And I always, for the kids, when we do the fundraiser, I always tell them, hey, first one of you that asks me, I'm going to say yes. Right. So again, that's a lot of fundraising, but you know what? It's always a quality product. And I enjoy it. The interaction is always great with Matt and his crew. So good stuff. Now, listen, I'm surprised you haven't asked me, right? So I'm still in my office, but I'm in a.
Well, listen. So I didn't want to start right off. We got to make sure we give a shout out to Matt Ross, and I got some thoughts here, and this is always a tough time of the year. I know that you're very busy, not only with your stuff at work. Most people don't know that also you're the man behind the chalkboard, behind the Cougars boys basketball program as well, and being a varsity coach at the same time you're working as an athletic director I gotta imagine is no easy feat. But speaking of feet, notice that, and I don't want that to sound weird or anything like that, but I noticed you're in a different spot in your office than your normal setup. But tell me what's going on. I saw a picture on the old Twitterverse the other night. What's new with you, Coach?
There's nothing. Put it this way: the team's doing great. They're 11-1, and I'm proud of them for that. We've got a long way to go, but as of last Friday, I took a little spill, and as I speak to you now, I'm sitting with my foot up and I'm icing it. So grade 3 sprain, which is never fun and can't really put much weight on it. So I'm getting old is tough. I missed a.
Oh no, it wasn't like you got someone Andy Christopher down the conference doing a figure 4 leg lock or anything like that when you weren't looking.
No, he tried to jump on my back, and that might have kind of loosened some things up on my ankle. I don't know, but
okay.
I don't know. I just it's one of those things, Keith, where we all deal with it, right? And I know that you have a training background, but we all deal with it. We all we always feel for our kids that get injured in season or even out of season, and then when it happens to you, you realize how bad it is, and then you feel even worse for the kids because they're going through it. And I'm going to tell you, this ankle's, back in high school, might have turned it a couple of times. This is something I haven't experienced before. To not be able to use, your feet and be able to, do all the things that we do on a daily basis. It's definitely aggravating to say the least, and I'm just trying to muddle my way through it.
Yeah, well, it's how you take things for granted, right?
Yep.
And having that ability to reflect on that, and hopefully that as a coach, as an athletic director, as an athletic trainer, whatever the role that you play, or people play within, a school system or a college or wherever the case, youth sports or whatever the case may be, experiencing those things firsthand are important. And they have the ability to make you a better professional, a better sounding board, a better coach, a better AD. I was just talking about this the other day with a couple of my coaches, and a debate of, how things are changing, right? Not like we don't
Mhm.
want to sound too old here, but my view of the rules and the policies and stuff that we put in place. I kind of looked at things one way when I first started out, and
Oh, sure.
you've been at this job a little bit longer than me as an athletic director. But between my time as an athletic trainer and then a teacher and now working in administration, I would say since I've had children and my wife and I, not just me, because she does most of the work. As we know, our wives do most of the work.
Yeah.
But now that I have two high school age student athletes, we have two high school age student athletes that live with us. How their experiences in their programs that they participate in and teams that they play against and stuff like that, how that factors in and that plays a role in how I do things now. And so I've definitely changed how things have gone. I had that background as an athletic trainer, so kind of saw that stuff. But like even for me now of the interaction between coaches and kids and how kids are so different this time. They're so different in how we need to constantly look for ways to reinvent, to adapt, to build and strengthen those relationships with kids. Because they're our clients, right? Without them, we got nothing going on.
You're speaking about that, and I'm a big believer, and not just in the sport of basketball, Keith, but you're talking about connections, right? You're talking about having that, and I subscribe to. You don't necessarily have to be a young person to relate to your kids, right? So, in that regard, like and trust me, I'm not patting myself on the back. It's just something that we've always done, right? So we have at the school, we have this Frosty Runner road race that they're doing this weekend, right? So my basketball team will work a water stop, right? They'll do the water stop, make sure that all the runners get what they need and whatnot. Yep. But typically what we do is we'll go out for breakfast as a team, and we'll go out and we'll just kind of shoot the breeze, talk about what's going to happen this Friday night. Then we'll go to our water stop. Well, I always try to take the kids to a game. They always want to go to a game that day. And there's, depending on, who's in town or, what's happening, seems like right now a lot of our local teams are either on the road or whatnot. So we're actually going to Harvard Yale. We're going to go to the Harvard Yale game. Yeah. The entire team's going. And I think it's a great bonding opportunity to spend the entire day together. Right. So, and then we'll get back in the gym on Sunday morning, so it's, again, it's an extension of your family. And, if you treat the kids right, they treat you back, very well. And so far, so good. So, it works for me, and I'm sure it'll work for others.
Yeah. And that's it, right? It's that family. We always coaches talk about family, right? And this is our family, and this is, how we fight for each other. We bleed for each other, all these different things. And it's, and it can't just be with words, you know what I mean? It has to be with action. And that's a cool opportunity to get the guys together. And, it could be very easy for you to say, hey, I got stuff going on with my family this weekend or whatever, or the people who actually, introduce their own family to the kids they coach on a regular basis. And it's such an important part of what it is that we do, and to put yourself out there, to be a little vulnerable, to go that extra mile, to build that relationship with kids and let them, not just hear that you care, but it's all in actions, right? Put your money where your mouth is, sort of thing. Remember my father saying that to me a long time ago, that it was like, you could say whatever you want, but until you show me, that doesn't, that does nothing for me, right?
And they're all excited too, right? They're all excited. Again, you know what I mean? You together 6 days a week. You're going to throw another day in there, and to me, it's needed, right? And you hit the nail on the head when you said, it's about building those relationships, but at the same point in time too, it's about an experience, right? Like, granted, we're having a good year, but they'll never forget the community service. They won't forget the Harvard Yale game. They're gonna, it's all about that. And I love the fact that I have a lot of alumni come back. They'll come back and watch the game, or they'll come back to a practice. And I think that that's probably more important than the wins, right? Those things are really the important things in life, because at the end of the day, you win the games, you lose the games, you're going to remember events and things that happen over the course of the season too.
Well, we say about that, as much as it stings when you lose, right? A high percentage in those 90s, 98%, 99% of the teams their last game is going to be a loss, right?
Correct. Yep.
Only a few teams are going to win that state championship and end on that high note. And
Right.
we say about this all the time. You and I feel similar about this. It's the relationships that.
Yep.
It's funny. The other night I went to watch. I didn't have any games going on. My son didn't have any games going on. We went and watched my nephew play, who's a senior in high school, and ironically, the same high school that I went to, I worked as a trainer for 4 years when I got out of college for the first time, and I ran into someone there who, when I first became an athletic trainer, was a student athlete. He had played hockey, he played lacrosse, but his son is on that team with my nephew now. And like he introduced me to his wife, and he's like, "This is the guy who used to take care of me when I get hurt all the time, and this, that, whatever." And it was like, "Hey, this is cool." Now, mind you, this is 30 years ago, right? Or almost 30 years ago, and amazing to still have those opportunities and to meet those. And I'm sure not every relationship has been wonderful or anything like that, but it's
Cool.
it's those moments where we talk about this with new teachers here and new coaches and the new ADs things, that it's those experiences and how you interact with people. And that's what people are going to remember. They're not going to remember that you got, how many points you scored in that game. They're going to remember what a great experience, what a feel it was.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? And that teacher or that coach or that administrator looked out for me and had a great, we had a great relationship with each other.
Right.
And as opposed to, the opposite, which is you hope never happens. Sadly, it does, but you hope it never happens because, that's what we say we're in for, why we do what we do.
Yep.
It's about working with kids and passing along those same great relationships that we had with people back in the day.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's all the stuff that's so important.
I mean, I know that you might be a year or two older than me, but
just a year or two.
But that being said, you can, we're not that old for one, but I'm sure you reflect on your time in high school, right? Like, I remember what I liked. I remember what I didn't like. Yep. And I sure as heck make sure that what I didn't like doesn't happen here.
Right.
Right. So
absolutely.
You're just trying to roll out the best experience you possibly can. And I think you try to do that on a daily basis, right? Yep. Again, we can all get stuck behind the desk. We can all push paper all day long. The most important thing that you can do is get out of the office and
absolutely.
Talk to the kids, right?
Yep.
Like, just talk to the kids, and it makes my day when you walk down the hall and you hear, "Hey, Mr. Tran, hey, Coach, hey," I love that. That's the best part of the day, right?
Yeah. No, and it's a great feeling. It's a great to have those interactions with kids. It's an amazing opportunity to help mold minds. And who's to say that, everything that you say is the right way or anything I say is the right way?
Right.
Not necessarily the case, but it's, we've had experiences, some good, some bad, as you just alluded to. The bad ones, we want to make sure those don't happen.
Correct.
Obviously times are different now from when we grew up.
Yeah.
Obviously, how coaches coach it differently, how athletic directors work are different. But it's trying to have be able to look at yourself at the end of the day and say, "Hey, this is what I did." I spend a lot of time on the way home, make a couple phone calls, usually call my mom on the way home is a routine that I do now. But I try to go through my day of saying, "Hey, how did this work? How could I do something different?" Just so to have that fresh in my mind. So next time when something happens or if I need to follow up with someone or anything like that, I want to make sure that I do that and that's fresh in my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I love that. And you and I have talked about that. I know that you probably do that even more than I do, but trying to get to that point where you can point back to something and say, "This is how I handled it," or "I want to make sure that I, handle it this way." So, I think after you cross that 40 mark, you're very reflective. Let's just say that.
Well, and sometimes maybe even after that next decade as well.
Oh, maybe you are a little older than me. Okay.
Yeah,
I was being kind.
That's okay. That's all right. I can handle it. Look, it is what it is, right? It ain't changing.
It's all good.
We either accept it, embrace it, and move on and make the best of it, or we pout and either way, it's still there. So
it is definitely there. Tell me this, Keith. Tell me this. I'm doing everything I can. I'm using the RICE method. Okay,
yes.
Rest, ice, I'm elevating, I'm doing it all.
Yeah.
It's not getting better. Do you have any magic dust over there?
Well, listen, the magic dust is, and everyone always wants a magic dust. They want a quick fix, and unfortunately,
I want a quick fix.
How gravity works is a big issue that you have to deal with anyway, right? Everything always moves down. So the more you can stay off, start working on some, you're a little bit, not in that 48 to 72 hour range anymore here now as well. So right now, what you want to do is you want to start working on some range of motion, just get things moving, that term move it or lose it sort of thing, which is so important. So like, I know your ABCs, so you work on, pretend that big toe is a marker, and you go through and you work on your ABCs and tracing out those letters with your foot and really working on that range of motion, which is huge, because as it gets stiff, everything's right there. So the more you can do that and start doing some strengthening as it allows, body weight, and then adding more and more and more. But unfortunately, sometimes those things take a long time.
They say sprains are tough.
You don't want to hear this, that there's some breaks that heal quicker than some ligament sprains and stuff like that too. So it kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
At that point.
I'm sitting here smiling on camera, but I can tell you off camera, not so much.
Yep.
Not
Absolutely.
so much. But it is what it is. Accidents happen. It's no time's a good time, right? No time. Yep. It's never a good time for it to happen. Nope. So the good news is I do have an appointment February 2nd. I get a little bit more information there, and something tells me I think the doctor is going to tell me the orthopedic's going to tell me to stay off of it for an extended period of time.
Well, I know you're in a boot now, so that's the best thing to be.
Yeah,
might not be the flashiest one, it's not the alligator wearing rope. You know what I mean?
You know what I do have? You know what I do have?
Touch base on that quickly before we end here. But it's you just gotta take it slow, sadly. Yeah. And it's not easy to do, right? When you have a job like you have, between coaching, between being an AD and being a parent as well, right? You got stuff to do at home. You got to do stuff for the kids. I'm sure the kids like, Dad, let's go. We got to get going here. So
and they're almost high school age, so it's getting there. But sitting in front of me, the administration is very supportive. I actually have 2 mobile scooters. Where you put your knee on it. I've got
listen. So I saw the crutch. The picture of the crutch. I think I don't know if anyone out there is listening. Maybe if Coach Mendez is out there and can get me a picture of you on that scooter. Well, that would be all work. Make everything worth it.
I will get you that picture. However, the girls in the front office and the central office have decided that they want to decorate one of these cuts, so it's got streamers and whatever else. So I'm the butt of everybody's joke right now, and that's okay.
If anyone out there is listening, and maybe no one's listening, as well. If anyone's out there listening, can get a picture, especially if Coach Trahan has no idea it's happening, to get a picture, please send that up to me, and we can have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, I'm sure. Don't send it to Andy. That would be a problem.
Listen, we'll get him too.
I love it. Well, Keith, always good to get together with you. Hopefully we do it again real soon. Again, folks, Gold Athletics. Gold Athletics is the premium fundraising company. You name it, across the country. If you're not working with them, give them a shot. Give them a try. You won't go wrong. Don't take our word for it. Ask anybody who's using Gold Athletics. They are amazing. My friend, we'll be talking off camera because I know you got that magic dust, and I'm looking for something. I need to make it happen, and make it happen quick.
There you go.
All right, brother.
Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Take care, pal.